Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. The reason why I came out to the woods today was to review this knife, the Mora Garberg. It's not a new knife, of course. It's been on the market for quite a while, and it was a knife that a lot of people were waiting for Mora to put out. I've had it for quite a while myself. Now when it first came out, there were a lot of people who loved it, some people who hated it. People had opinions on the price and value for the money. If you stick around, I'll show you what I think about the Mora Garberg. Okay, here's the Mora Garberg in the leather sheath. It comes in this sheath, or it comes in a sheath that they call the multi-mount, which is a plastic style sheath that could be mounted in a variety of ways. It looks like it'd be very handy as well. But I ended up with the leather version, and it's actually very well done. Nicely finished on the edges. Nice riveted belt loop. And I like that the pouch doesn't ride too much above the belt loop. So it's a fairly low carry, which in my opinion makes it a little more comfortable. Good thick leather. And it does have a flap and a snap, as you can see, which I'm not a real big fan of. I prefer if it was just open, easier to access, but at the same time it does add some security to the knife. And that might be a more traditional style sheath in Sweden. I don't know about that. So let's take a look at the knife itself. Now it's stainless steel, nothing really new to Mora. But I like having a stainless steel knife. You don't have to worry about it in the elements. Now when it came, it was very sharp. It also had a significant secondary bevel. Not a big fan of the secondary bevel, so I'm in the process of removing it as I go. I know a lot of people do like the secondary bevel. There are reasons for it. I just don't particularly enjoy it. So that's just a personal preference on my part. Scandinavian grind. Now the big deal about this knife when it first came out is that it's Mora's first full tang knife. You can see it has an exposed tang on the end. Now this exposed tang is very sharp as well. Great for processing tinder. You could strike a ferro rod with that. The spine of the Garberg is extremely sharp as well. I've not seen a knife that strikes a ferro rod better than the Garberg yet. So that's really nice. Now the handle, it's a type of plastic, type of man-made. I really like it. It's an oval, as you can see. Okay, fills my hand very well. It's comfortable in a variety of positions. I've used this knife a lot. I've had it out on a few overnight trips. And actually I had no trouble with hot spots or it being uncomfortable at all. I actually had it out a few weeks ago on an overnight trip, and I will link that trip at the end of this video so you can take a look at the Mora Garberg I used on that weekend. But I can't think of a better way to show you this knife than to do a few camp tasks. So let's get started. So the sheath is actually a pretty comfortable carry. It doesn't ride too high, doesn't dig in. Fairly deep carry, and that flap actually does add some extra security. So as you can see, the Garberg is capable of doing some light batoning, which is about all I would ever ask of a knife, actually. But it's thick enough that you could do that if you want to. I know a lot of people like batoning with their knife, and I do once in a while. So I'll just do a few curls to get the fire going. So processing firewood is something that we rely on our knife to be able to do. So obviously you can produce a curl with the Mora Garberg. I've no doubt I'll be able to get these curls ignited with a ferro rod. So not only is that bevel quite good for producing curls, the back of the spine, as I said before, is very sharp, and it's useful for creating fluff. So you can scrape even finer shavings with the back of the knife. They will light very easy. Great technique for processing fat wood as well. Someone's not happy with me being here. A tip is great for processing smaller kindling. Love it. It's also strong and stout enough that I'm not afraid of breaking it. You don't want to abuse your knife, but at the same time, I feel like you should be able to use it with confidence. And I'm able to do that with this Mora. So let's light these shavings that we made with the Garberg. There we go. So that fire's coming along nice. Just about every time I come out to the woods, I have a coffee and I make a pot hanger. So that's a pretty good test for a knife, making some notches. So let's make a pot hanger. Great for the power cuts and for drilling holes too. So this is a pretty common notch. I use it all the time. Very common. Bird's beak notch, I think. And makes a great pot hanger. Almost every time I come out, I make one of these rigs. It's good practice, and it's actually just a really good pot hanger. So That's why I make it. Notching is no problem with the Mora. That Scandi really shines in this application. Ooh, nothing like a hot drink. So what are my final thoughts on the Mora Garberg? Well, they're very positive. I do like this knife a lot. I've had it out on many day trips. I've had it out on a couple overnighters, and it always does what I want it to do. It does fire prep very well, it does notching very well, and it will even do some food prep. So it does everything that most of us need it to do. I like the way it slices, I like the way it feels in my hand. I also like the fact that this particular model is stainless steel. I favor carbon steel mainly, but I do like having a stainless steel knife in the toolbox. So I do appreciate you stopping by, spending a few minutes with me, guys. If you're not a subscriber, please do. You can easily do so by clicking on this button at the top. And I'll also leave some links for a few videos you might enjoy watching here, and even here. Thank you very much. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.